Imagine a market created to save the planet. Now imagine that it moves billions of dollars every year. Companies pollute, governments regulate, investors profit. But are emissions really going down? Or are they just being relocated on paper? Today, few people understand who truly wins this game. And almost no one talks about who really loses. Carbon markets are presented as a climate solution. They promise efficiency, innovation, and emission reductions. But behind the technical language lies a complex system. A system filled with hidden incentives and silent distortions. Some actors accumulate enormous strategic advantages. Others carry the costs without realizing it. Understanding this is essential to seeing the full picture. Before we continue, like this video now. That helps this discussion reach more people. Subscribe so you don't miss the next parts. This topic is bigger than it seems at first glance. Each section dives deeper into a different layer of the system. If you want to understand the whole game, stay until the end. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. What would you do if you could sell invisible reductions? That's exactly what many have learned to do. Carbon credits aren't smoke, but they come close. They exist more as contracts than as physical reality. That creates massive opportunities and loopholes. Those who master the rules get ahead quickly. Those who don't end up paying the price. To understand who wins and who loses, we must separate the actors. Polluting companies, financial intermediaries, governments, and communities. Each enters the market with different objectives. And not everyone plays by the same rules. Some buy time to keep polluting. Others sell the promise of compensation. And this imbalance defines the entire system. The biggest winners are rarely the most sustainable. Large corporations use the market as a strategic shield. Instead of reducing emissions, they buy offsets. That keeps operations unchanged for years or even decades. The cost is lower than transforming industrial processes. On paper, they look green. In reality, they continue polluting almost the same. Carbon credits buy something extremely valuable: time. Time to exploit existing assets. Time to delay expensive investments in clean technology. Time to protect high profit margins. Meanwhile, the public narrative is one of climate responsibility. Reports reinforce this positive image. The market rewards those who appear sustainable, not those who are. Banks, brokers, and specialized consultancies thrive. They structure projects, certify credits, and broker transactions. Every step generates fees, contracts, and audits. Few understand the system better than they do. They don't reduce emissions directly, but they profit from every transaction. The bigger the market, the bigger their gains. Here's an uncomfortable question. What if the market actually needs pollution to exist? Without emissions, there are no credits to sell. Without credits, there is no business. That creates a silent, perverse incentive. The system grows alongside the problem. And that changes everything you thought about the solution. Governments benefit politically as well. Climate targets seem easier to meet on paper. Buying credits is cheaper than reforming entire sectors. That reduces pressure for real structural change. The public narrative is one of climate progress. But the transformation is slow and often superficial. The biggest losses rarely appear in reports. Communities near offset projects face real impacts. Land is controlled, traditional uses are restricted. Promises of development often go unfulfilled. Financial benefits stay far from these populations. Meanwhile, they bear the consequences. The market rarely listens to these voices. Developing countries sell credits to balance budgets. That creates dependence on a volatile market. Instead of clean industrialization, they export offsets. The value captured is small compared to global profits. Rules are defined outside these countries. Their bargaining power is limited, and development is constrained. The climate is the most silent loser. The atmosphere doesn't understand carbon accounting. A ton emitted stays there. Offsets don't erase real physical impacts. Future reductions are treated as equal to present emissions. That delays urgent action, and lost time carries a heavy price. If you think this doesn't affect you, think again. Extreme events already impact food, energy, and insurance. Climate costs reach the final consumer. When the market fails, society pays. Few notice this transfer of risk. The system seems distant, but it shapes the future you will live in. While credits are purchased, the transition is delayed. Real green jobs are not created. Old industries remain dominant. Workers stay trapped in declining sectors. The promise of a just transition weakens. The market prioritizes financial efficiency, not social transformation. Carbon markets are complex by design. Technical rules push the public away from the debate. Few understand methodologies and baselines. That creates dependence on experts. Those who control complexity control the money. Transparency becomes rhetoric, and the system protects itself. A credit only works if it reduces something that wouldn't happen otherwise. But proving that is extremely difficult. Inevitable projects still receive credits. Natural reductions become commodities. That inflates the market without real impact. Audits can't verify everything, and the system accepts this flaw. The core problem lies in incentives. Profit doesn't depend on real reductions. It depends on volume, certification, and trading. The more credits circulate, the better for the market, even if the planet doesn't improve. This disconnect is structural, and it can't be fixed with good intentions. Then the inevitable question arises. Why is this still defended? Because change is politically expensive. Because admitting failure requires rewriting entire strategies. And because the market offers a convenient escape. Even if imperfect, it keeps everything running. Climate discourse sells urgency and hope. Carbon markets fit perfectly into that narrative. They promise action without disruption, change without confrontation. They calm investors and voters, but they numb real transformation, and that has consequences. Carbon markets reveal more about power than about climate. They show who can turn crises into opportunities. Those who define the rules get ahead. Real impact comes second. None of this is accidental. These are political and economic choices, and understanding them changes everything. Direct emission reductions remain the only physical solution. Efficiency, innovation, and real industrial change. No accounting shortcuts. No empty future promises. This requires investment and hard decisions. It requires confronting entrenched interests. But it works. You are not just an observer. As a consumer and voter, you influence the system. Narratives shape collective decisions. Questioning easy solutions is a responsibility. It's not enough to ask who offsets. You must ask who actually reduces and who profits. If the market grows while the problem persists, something is wrong. If everyone seems to win, be skeptical. Real crises don't create universal winners. They expose inequalities. Carbon markets are not absolute villains, but they are not heroes either. They are a mirror of current priorities. If this content made you think differently, like the video. Subscribe for more in-depth analysis. Share it with someone who believes in simple solutions. The climate crisis demands clarity, not slogans. Who do you think should really win in this system? And how far are we willing to go to change the game?